Good evening. Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting of Monday, August 26, 2024. I call the meeting to order. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Anna, would you please do the voice roll call?
Chair Arith is absent. Vice Chair Toller?
Here?
Commissioner Rojas?
Present.
Commissioner Zick?
Here.
Commissioner Andrade?
Here.
Commissioner Klepak? Here. Commissioner Martinez?
Here.
All right, thank you, Anna. Public comments will be heard at this time on items that are not listed on the agenda but are within our jurisdiction. I will open the public comments, and if you'd like to speak, please come to the podium, or if you're participating on Zoom, use the raise hand option at the bottom of the screen. If you're joining the meeting on your phone and would like to speak, please press *9. Good evening.
Hi, my name is store every single day at 7:30 to 8 o'clock in the morning, has its door open every day until 8 p.m., just screaming on the intercom. You hear the whole workout, the bass, still waking us up at 5:15 in the morning. You do a faulty sound sample where the gym owner talks to the sound sampleist. I mean, if you think that sound sample is ethical or is right in any means, I don't know what to tell you. And then we got people that want to ride these electric bicycles. You're only supposed to have one of them. I read the laws. I'm pretty sure that's what it says. Half of them don't even have helmets on, and they go in the wrong direction. Even adults go in the wrong direction. So if you want to promote a city that wants to be a bicycle city, where's your bicycle cops? You know what? Making sure these people are safe, you know? These kids are riding around without helmets on, coming at you down Red Hill, you know, where all those cars are parked on the side, and it's clearly labeled on the other side of the road. You got 3, you know, juveniles, and they pop wheelies in the middle of the intersections. I mean, what are you gonna do about this, you know? I mean, you want the bicycle safe city, and you brought up that the street is a public domain, yet this gym's bringing their bass, all the screaming on the intercom, you know, I mean, and the pedestrians. Why would you make it 3 seconds sooner whenever you have people running red lights? You know, wouldn't you extend it 3 seconds, you know, because people are less likely to go hit somebody from a stop position than trying to run a red light position? I mean, these are just logical things about your city that just don't make sense, you know, and you have to do something about the gym, though, for real, because it's horrible every day. Boom, 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 boom. 5:15 in the morning, you can hear the instructor screaming at 5:15 in the morning outside the building. I mean, I've seen you in video clips of where the bass from the gym drowns out police sirens at 5:30 in the morning. You know, I mean, I don't know why you guys spent all this money on this sound sample that is 100% unethical. 100%. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anna, do we have anybody on Zoom?
No, we do not, Mr. Chairman.
And the phone, I assume no.
No, we do not.
All right, so I'll close public comments. And now is the time for commissioner comments. We'll start at the Commissioner Rojas side of the dais.
I have none. Thank you.
Commissioner Zick?
Nothing tonight.
All right, Commissioner Andrade.
Yes, I would love to invite my fellow commissioners, the community, the audience that's here today, to a Homelessness 101 educational session that is taking place right down the street at the Fairview Community Church, right in the corner of Fair, on Fair Street, from 6 to 8 p.m. The event is completely free. It's a great opportunity for us to fully understand what are the challenges that Orange County and Costa Mesa specifically is facing when addressing homelessness or being unhoused, right? Because technically Costa Mesa is our home. Being unhoused in our community, and what are some of the ways that the city of Costa Mesa is partnering with this United to End Homelessness Coalition to help address and mitigate this issue. You know, we've heard a lot about how we are now criminalizing encampments on the street, so how is the city addressing that? This is a great place to learn more.
How is, we just recently reviewed at City Council, the Affordable Housing Ordinance. How does that impact and address those challenges? We're also going to be looking at the Fairview Development Park, which is also supposed to have affordable housing. So very great ways that this topic is very critical for a lot of the intersectional topics that we're addressing here in this body and also at the council level. And as a community member, right, I'm sure it's a hard time, right, when you walk around our neighborhood and you see neighbors in the streets, along the Gulf, any other corner, right? So this is a great way for you to be personally, as a citizen, local citizen, be informed and take action in some way. So that's all.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Martinez.
Yes, thank you. So first of all, the survey for the Fairview Developmental Center is still open and it closes August 30th. The Planning Commission will eventually have a study session on that topic, so we are eager to receive your feedback on a very important land use decision for our city. Tomorrow, August 27th at Fire Station 2, there will also be a community meeting regarding improvements to that fire station tomorrow at 6 p.m. Wednesday, August 28th from 5:30 to 7, OC Public Works is hosting a active transportation community meeting for residents of the unincorporated Costa Mesa Islands. So if you ever travel through there by bike, walking, anything like that, make sure to go and say how the active transportation infrastructure can be improved in that area. I'd like to thank the Public Works Department for their work on Santa Ana Avenue by filling in that bike lane gap since school just started. I think it's very important that all these kids now have a very easy way to get to school. And finally, I would like to request to agendize at a future public Planning Commission meeting an appointment to the Housing and Public Service Grants Committee, since we have a vacancy, a vacant Planning Commission spot on that committee. And I know that their meetings are usually held in September, so hopefully we can get that, we can get a member on there before their next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Klepek.
Nothing for me.
All right. I have, well, I'll echo what Commissioner Martinez was talking about in terms of the Santa Ana bike lane. That is a beautiful new bike lane with green paint right in front of an elementary school. So it finished right before school started, and now it's full of 6 to 12-year-olds and their parents, not merging with 30-mile-an-hour traffic on their last block before school, but in their own lane. Coming here right now, I passed by what looked like a 10 and an 8-year-old. They look like siblings on regular bikes, riding by themselves with no parents around, which things you used to see all the time decades ago, but are very rare nowadays to see. So it's kind of like one of those nature is healing moments when you see kids out on their bikes by themselves. So, man, that was just finished like 10 days ago. So we're already seeing really cool results from that. Also, I learned today that there's a bike tour happening. So if anybody wants to mark their calendars, this is a historical Costa Mesa bike tour. It starts at the Costa Mesa Historical Society in Lions Park, September 28th. It's a Saturday, 2 p.m. It'll probably be an easy ride with a lot of stopping, a lot to learn. Every time I visit a different city, I like to do a bike tour. It's a great way to get to know a city. And that's it for commissioner comments. So that takes us to the consent calendar. We have one consent calendar item tonight. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be acted upon in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless members of the Planning Commission, staff, or the public request specific items to be discussed and or removed from the consent calendar for discussion. Items removed from the consent calendar will be discussed and voted upon immediately following Planning Commission action on the remainder of the consent calendar. So we have one item, August 12th, 2024 unofficial meeting minutes. Do we have any comments on those minutes? All right, may I have a motion? Motion made by Commissioner Martinez
Move to approve.
to approve and seconded by Commissioner Andrade. Commissioner Martinez, do you have any comments on the motion?
Nope.
Commissioner Andrade? All right. Anna, can we have a roll call, please?
That motion carries 6-0.
All right, thank you. Good job, city staff, keeping up. It seems like there's been times where we've been like several months and behind, but now we're like the next meeting. So good job keeping up. I know those are tricky to do sometimes. I used to have to type those up, I know. We have one public hearing item tonight. And Anna, can you please read the title of public hearing item number 1?
Public hearing item number 1, conditional use permit PCUP-24-0003 to operate an emergency veterinary clinic, veterinary emergency group at 2800 Harbor Boulevard. Please note we have not received public comments on this item. This is a call for any ex parte communications.
Commissioners, any ex parte communications to report? Seeing none. So I will turn it over to Mr. Raimondo for a presentation on the item.
Thank you, Vice Chairman, and good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jeffrey Raimondo, Assistant Planner with the Economic and Development Services Department. And the item before you tonight is a conditional use permit application for a veterinary clinic called Veterinary Emergency Group, or VEG for short. Now, the proposal is for a new emergency veterinary clinic, in which will specifically be operated 24 hours a day and will be occupying an existing 3-unit commercial building. Furthermore, no changes will be done to the existing site's parking and landscaping areas. The subject property is 2800 Harbor Boulevard. The subject site, which you can see boxed in blue, is located on the northeast corner of Harbor Boulevard and Adams Avenue and is Zone C1, which is the local business district. Within the vicinity of the site is the Connell Chevrolet dealership to the north and east of the property. At the southwest corner of the intersection is the shops at Mesa Verde. Across Adams Avenue further southeast is an existing apartment complex known as Harbor at Mesa Verde. And also in the vicinity there are existing multi-tenant commercial developments across Harbor Boulevard to the west and across Adams Avenue directly to the south. In closer look at the site, the lot consists of 30 existing parking spaces, with 8 of the stalls being compact and 2 stalls for handicap parking. Per the city's municipal code, the parking demand for the veterinary clinic is 29 spaces, so the existing site has sufficient parking for the use, as there is a surplus of 1 parking space. There are also existing landscaping along Harbor Boulevard and Adams Avenue that buffer the views of the existing parking lot. As indicated previously, no improvements are proposed to the existing parking landscape areas, as they will remain as is. The image to the right is a view of the storefront facing Harbor Boulevard, and as you can see, the site contains an existing multi-tenant 1-story building, which comprised of 3 units that previously were occupied by a 7-lease cafe, a Jimmy John's, and an AT&T store. The veterinary clinic is proposing to occupy an entire building and intends to install a privacy film on the inside of a portion of the storefront windows. Expanding on the operations of the business, VEG is a veterinary clinic that operates 24 hours, 7 days a week, providing emergency services for domesticated pets, ranging from animals, birds, and reptiles. The floor plan is designed to have an open treatment area, so the client is able to stay with their pet during the staff's assessment and other tests and treatments as necessary. In addition to the treatment area, there are also 4 exam rooms, an x-ray room, surgery room, and an isolation room to take care of the pets. A seating nook is also provided for clients to wait in during the process. Within the storage room, there contains a freezer that will hold waste from surgeries and deceased animals. So staff has included a condition of approval requiring that the facility shall maintain an active contract with a collection service company to collect post-operative waste and deceased animals once per week. So in conjunction, VEG will have a contract with a company called Gateway Services to collect and dispose the waste once per week. To ensure proper care is provided, the veterinary clinic will have about 8 to 10 employees at any given time. And other than animals needing overnight care directly related to their clinic visit, The business will not offer kenneling services or overnight boarding. Furthermore, to mitigate potential odors and sound produced by the clinic, new insulation, soundproofing, and a new HVAC system will also be proposed for the building. So the proposed 24-hour operation of the emergency veterinary clinic as conditioned will be compatible with the surrounding commercial and industrial businesses. It would not be materially detrimental to other properties within the area. With the existing 3-unit commercial building remaining vacant since 2022, the establishment of the veterinary clinic to occupy the entire building will help the growth of the Harbor Boulevard commercial corridor by reactivating the site and would benefit the community as an addition to the city's animal care facility options. With that said, staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt a resolution to find that the project is categorically exempt from CEQA and to approve conditional use permit 240003, subject to conditions of approval. So this concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have, and the applicant, Amarveer Brar, is also in attendance to answer any questions this evening.
All right, thank you, Mr. Raimondo. Any questions for staff? Mr. Martinez?
Thank you. So I figure if we're having to look at a conditional use permit for this, I should probably figure out how many other veterinary clinics do we have, how many conditional use permits have we granted for veterinary clinics, and maybe what zone are the different clinics in, if you have that information.
Yeah, in review of the city, there's approximately about 13 animal hospitals or veterinary clinics. Majority of them are in commercial zones, so some of them are on C1, C2, CL. There's one also, pretty much all the commercial zones in variety. So about 13 of them. Now, I haven't taken the research to see if each of those spaces had a conditional use permit or not. So that's something that staff will need to do more research to get back to you on that.
That's fair. Okay. Do we have any 24-hour ones in the city, or what is the closest one if we don't?
Yeah, so the city currently doesn't have a 24-hour animal hospital or veterinary care service. The closest animal hospital that does a 24-hour service there's one in Fountain Valley called the VCA West Coast Specialty and Emergency Animal Hospital. Would be one of the closest 24-hour service.
Okay. And now going to the conditions of approval. What is a domesticated non-farm animal? Do you have a definition for that?
So domesticated animal is an animal that's raised in a human setting. Non-farm, meaning that it's not an animal that you would see particularly in a farm.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I checked the veg website just to see, and like I don't know how many people would traditionally consider like a snake to be domesticated. There's probably arguments for or against. I don't know if you would consider a chicken a farm animal or not, but that's apparently a pet that they serve. So that's why I asked that question, and I don't know if the applicant might have any comments about that specific phrasing of domesticated non-farm animal. And then just wanted to ask about the parking requirement, which is 6 spaces per 1,000 square feet for medical use. So a veterinary clinic is considered a medical use?
That is correct.
Okay. Non-human medicine as well. Okay. Thank you. Those are my questions.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Anybody else? All right. I will now open the public hearing and ask whether the applicant or the applicant's representative is present, and if they would like to come forward. Please state your name for the record, whether you've read the staff report and conditions of approval, and whether you agree to them. Hang on one sec. Can we hear you? There you go.
Testing. There we go. Good evening, everyone. My name is Amarveer Brar, and I'm here on behalf of Veterinary Emergency Group. I'm joined by Jenny Hamlin, who's their head of real estate. And we have read the staff report, and we have read the conditions of approval, and we have no issues with those.
All right.
So we do have a presentation, which we're happy to go through now.
The floor is yours. As soon as you get it up there.
Perfect. So again, I'm Amarveer Brar here on behalf of VEG, as we like to call Veterinary Emergency Group. And as staff mentioned, we're here to discuss the CUP for the services at 2800 Harbor Boulevard. So we can go to the next slide. So I really want to start by introducing VEG and giving some context to who they are and what their mission is. VEG has a single mission, and that is to help people and their pets when they need it most. The company was founded in 2014. It's the only nationwide emergency veterinary business. They have over 80 locations. I think we're up to 87 now, nationwide, and that includes 9 here in California. There are a few things that I think really separate Veterinary Emergency Group from other animal clinics. For one, VEG only performs emergency veterinary services. There's no vaccinations offered, no spaying or neutering, no routine check-ins, no boarding. It's simply, the best way to describe it is it's an ER for pets. And during treatment, one amazing thing that VEG does is they don't separate people from their pets. So customers can choose to stay with their pets throughout all the procedures they might need to both give comfort to, I think, the animal itself and also to the owner. And also say, as a pet owner myself who's taken my dog to a Veterinary Emergency Group clinic, it is a really nice thing. Their facilities are top-notch, and just being able to be there with your dog is very reassuring. So we can go to the next slide. And I think this will answer Commissioner Martinez's questions, at least to the question of 24-hour emergency clinics in Costa Mesa. There are none. There are, from what we just heard, 13 clinics within the city, but from our research, they tend to close between 4 to 6 p.m. And I think Jenny could probably speak to this idea that a lot of emergencies happen after normal business hours when people are home and they see their pets and they see something happen during the day, or in my case, something happens at dinner where all of a sudden your dog's choking on something that he wasn't supposed to be eating, and that's when you need to rush to a Veterinary Emergency Group clinic, and where most clinics are, almost all clinics would then be closed around dinner time in Costa Mesa. This is a great service for the city. And my understanding is the Fountain Valley Pet Hospital is the closest one, and that's about 7 miles away. And then there's also one in Newport Beach, which I don't have the exact distance, but it's at 3720 Campus Avenue, I know that. But either way, within the city boundaries of Costa Mesa, there's no 24-hour clinics. So we look at this as a great local serving use for the residents of Costa Mesa, and then also for residents of adjacent neighborhoods in and around Orange County. We can go to the next slide. So again, we're looking at the site at 2800 Harbor Boulevard, which is on the northeast corner of Harbor and Adams. The site's on a commercial corridor. It's surrounded by a significant amount of commercial uses, including the Chevrolet dealership. The proposed space is about 4,821 square feet. It was previously 3 tenant spaces. I think it last occupied in 2022 with a AT&T retail store and then 2 restaurants, I think a sandwich shop and 7 Leaves Cafe. So as staff noted, we're not changing anything from the actual footprint height, landscaping or parking. Everything's going to remain as is. We can go to the next slide. So instead, everything kind of consists of interior improvements. Here you can see examples of other Veterinary Emergency Group facilities from other locations they have across the nation. And it's really, we're gonna renovate those 3 spaces, combine them into one, and you see there's the open pet concept. And I think the one thing I wanna point out is that, as we noted, VEG has been doing this since 2014. They have over 80 locations. They're a very experienced operator. They have their processes dialed in. Any concerns that people have about, that could come with a Veterinary Emergency clinic have been addressed. I think we have locations in the first floor of apartment buildings. So things like noise and odor concerns, they use insulating panels that we understand are able to eliminate 95% of sound. They have impervious surfaces throughout, so cleaning is very easy. And they have an HVAC system to account for odors. And we can go to the next slide. Here's the floor plan. As you can see, you come in through the vestibule on the bottom of the floor plan as you see it here. And then you open this open area, which is an open treatment area. And that's where you can kind of, you can choose to sit in one of the waiting areas, or you can stay with your pet during the initial examination. And if you need to go to an exam room, you can also still go with your pet there. I think we can go to the next slide. So as noted, we're here today to request a CUP, as one is required for animal hospitals and veterinary uses in the C1 zone. And we think this is an important use for Costa Mesa. Again, without having other 24-hour emergency veterinary clinics in the area, this is something that is going to be a great resource for the community. And so I guess for those reasons, and from what I've been told on International Dog Day, we are requesting your approval of this conditional use permit. So thank you, and we're happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you, and happy Dog Day. Commissioners, any questions for the applicant? No questions. Did a good job. You answered them all. So you can take a seat. Thank you for that. Sorry.
You can go for it, sorry.
No, go ahead and complete.
I was going to say, there was the question from Commissioner Martinez about the definition of domesticated animals, and you did refer to veterinary emergency group treating, your more traditional dogs and cats, but then there are also reptiles and birds. So we would be open to modifying that condition to state domesticated animals, including reptiles, fish, or birds.
We see fish?
And fish. Something along those lines, if that helps clarify the definition.
Thank you so much for this. This is absolutely a much needed gap that you're filling here in Costa Mesa. I myself have had a couple of emergencies where I have to run to Fountain Valley, Newport Beach at 9 p.m. with a kid in tow is not the best situation. So knowing that you're filling that need here in Costa Mesa is huge. So thank you for choosing our city. And along those lines, we get a lot of a variety of businesses that come in and for different industries. And so one of the things that we always really like to focus on is to ensure that businesses that come into our community are Costa Mesa focused, or really want to connect with the community, employ Costa Mesa residents. Can you maybe speak a little bit about what is your recruitment going to look like? Will there be opportunities for local residents to apply? Maybe a little bit about benefit packaging. Is there union opportunities for those employees?
Sure.
I'll let Jenny step in for those questions.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Hanlon. I'm the Senior Director of Real Estate and Development at VEG. So we are very excited to be coming to Costa Mesa, so thank you guys for giving us this opportunity. As much as I can tell you about our recruiting process, so something you might not know about the veterinary industry is it is extremely hard to recruit in the veterinary industry. It's not like a crumble cookie or a Chipotle. We are hiring doctors and veterinary nurses and other technical staff. So we do typically recruit our doctors from all over the country. Of course, we like to have a focus on California-based doctors. It's easier for them to relocate, and sometimes we will assist with doctors relocating to certain areas. So that's definitely a top priority of ours, is to recruit doctors from that area if they are already living in Costa Mesa or nearby. Same thing with our veterinary nurses. I'm not familiar off the top of my head if Costa Mesa has any veterinary technician colleges or if there's any nearby, but we have a whole separate team that just focuses on veterinary nurse recruitment and retention. So they will definitely identify those opportunities and partner with those schools to make those hires. I can't directly speak to any specific benefits we have for Costa Mesa residents that are recruited and then retained by Veg. But I can say our hospitals do try to have a very ingrained relationship with the communities that we operate in. They do try to get in touch with the Chamber of Commerce. We also treat all the police and fire dogs free of charge. So if you guys have police and fire dogs and something happens to them, they can definitely come into Veg, partake in any of the community customs, if you guys have fairs, etc. So we have an entire local team. While they might not all be based in Costa Mesa, this will be Veg Costa Mesa, and their entire job is to ingrain themselves in the Costa Mesa community.
Fantastic. That's really great to hear. And I'm sure that the city would appreciate getting free vet care for their canines. Awesome. Thank you so much for giving us a broad, it would be really interesting to see. I'm not exactly sure about the local community colleges that we have here, if there is a track, but getting that local workforce ingrained in the business is amazing. So thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Great question. Great answer. We'll now open the public comments. If you'd like to speak to this item, please approach the podium. If you're on Zoom, please use the raise hand option. If you're joining the meeting on your phone and would like to speak, please press *9. It looks like nobody is going to speak in the chambers. Anna, do we have anybody on Zoom or the phone?
No, we do not, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. So with that, I will close the public comment portion of the public hearing. Let's see, any other questions for staff or the applicant? Commissioner Klepek.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to try to get through this without crying, but I'm not making any promises. 5 weeks ago, I had to put my dog down. I had him for 16 and a half years, and in February, he had his first stroke. And I had to take him to emergency. The closest place was in Fountain Valley. The staff there was overwhelmed. They told me they couldn't see me. They couldn't see him. They didn't know when they'd be able to see me. I could wait in the waiting room while he was in the middle of having a stroke, but no promises. So I made the decision to put him back in the car, take him several exits further up the 405, where he got wonderful care there. Took him home. About 4 months later, he had another stroke, and I'd take him all the way back up the 405 to the original place. So there's definitely a need, I know firsthand, for this service in Costa Mesa. This is a fantastic location. It's very central. It's easy to get to. It's on main arterial. So thank you for bringing this to Costa Mesa.
All right, Commissioner Martinez.
Yeah, let me just ask, have there been any problems with any other veterinary clinics that we know of? Any code enforcement problems? Any noise complaints, odor complaints? I don't know, any that we know of?
Since I've been here, we've had no complaints for any veterinarian or animal hospitals.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I'll have comments later.
All right, I think that's the right kind of question, same one I have. From a planning perspective, why would this require a CUP? What would be just a basic answer?
So there are a lot of reasons why a land use requires a conditional use permit, even though that the operators operate these businesses professionally and without neighboring impacts typically. But in this situation, there are aspects of veterinarian hospitals and similar uses that have exterior areas where animals are located, different issues that might occur where they're not compatible based on loud noises from animals that are uncontrollable for the most part, near other uses that are sensitive. So I'm hopefully getting to your question, but the answer to your question is most veterinarian hospitals in town are operated very well. That's very clear, and we've even seen some since I've been the assistant director, and I processed them to planning commission. We had one on 17th Street. In one of the instances, they had an area outside the where the doggies would go, for lack of word, pee and poo or whatever you want to call it. And we would put conditions on that to make sure that those areas are clean, and the animals don't disturb the neighbors with barking or whatever cats do. So I'm a dog person, so I'll just leave it at that.
All right, that's helpful context. Thank you, Mr. Drapkin. Cats meow, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for staff or the applicant from the dais? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion. Motion made by Commissioner Klepak.
I move to approve conditional use permit PCUP 24-0003 based on findings of fact and subject to conditions of approval.
And that is seconded by Commissioner Andrade. Commissioner Klepak, would you like to speak to your motion?
I think I said what I had to say. Thank you for your service here.
All right, Commissioner Andrade.
Yeah, same. Thank you for choosing Costa Mesa. This is really exciting.
All right, do any other commissioners have comments on the motion?
Yeah, this is more on process than the actual application itself, and sorry about that. But I think the fact that, we, other than me, we asked no questions. We had very little questions for staff or the applicant, makes me question why we need veterinary clinics to be in the CUP. And I do appreciate Assistant Director Drapkin's answer, but still, I feel like our land use matrix needs a lot of review based on this, based on the escape room we heard previously. I think this just adds another level to something that if it were located catty corner from this, where this property is right now, it would just be permitted by right. I don't know why, for example, a car dealership just permitted right there, and then veterinary clinic, we're going to need to go through the CUP process. So I think I would really appreciate whenever we get to rezoning, we get to actually looking at the land use matrix and say, well, do these things make sense that we have we have to require a CUP when it's here on this parcel, but not when it's like right across the street and it's basically the same. And then just the parking requirement, because we're saying human and non-human medical uses have the same amount of parking that is needed. I just am confused about all of that. But I will still obviously approve this item because it seems like it'll be a great service to our community. Thank you.
All right, if there are no other comments from up here, I will call for the question.
That motion carries 6-0.
All right, that decision is final unless appealed to the City Council within 7 business days. Thank you, guys. That brings us to, there is no old business or new business on the agenda tonight, so that takes us to Public Services Report by Mr. Yang.
Thank you, Vice Chair Toller. The only report that Public Works has is just to follow up on what Commissioner Martinez mentioned about the fire station community meeting, which is tomorrow from 6 to 7:30 p.m. There'll be free food available to the public, but it's a great venue for everyone in the community who has questions about the new design of the fire station. It serves a very important emergency services to the community in that particular area. So council members will be there, and we just invite everyone to join that in that community event. In addition, we'll be also scheduling the groundbreaking for the fire station number 4 training tower. So our staff on the 5th floor is making arrangements for that. So when we have news as to when that will be scheduled, we'll bring that not only to this commission, but also to the community as well. So that's it from Public Works, and I defer back to Vice Chair Toller.
Thank you, Mr. Yang. Development Services Report, Mr. Drapkin.
Nothing tonight.
Vice Chair.
All right, and City Attorney's Office Report, Mr. Preziosi.
Nothing, Chair.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the agenda for tonight. I'll now adjourn the meeting.